Call the school board meeting to order. George, can you take roll?
Colonel Evans?
Here.
Mr. Grozan?
Here.
Mrs. Ludwig?
Here.
Mr. Miko?
Here.
Mr. Naso?
Here.
All present.
Stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. District goals. At every board meeting, we talk about our district goals. The first one, of course, is student achievement, and that's what all our other goals feed into. So the second goal is financial prudence. Tonight, we're going to spend some time on financial prudence. We do our best to spend every dollar as efficiently as possible, maximize the gifts that our taxpayers give us, and do the best we can with it. And then our third goal is community engagement, and we look to our community to help us deliver on both of those achievements. We do it on the finance committee. We do it with athletics. They help us on so many different areas. So we're really thrilled to have such an engaged community that helps us deliver. And with that brings us to recognition. Cameron?
Mr. Naso, we do have a few recognitions tonight, and I'm going to turn it over to Mrs. Pelko to start those off.
And I'm going to head to the podium. So good evening, members of the board. And tonight I am so excited to announce some really special recognitions that we have. For the Strongsville Knights of Columbus Sister Rita Mackert Teacher of the Year Award, I want to recognize Mrs. Kathy Jenke. Kathy, if you could come up here. And let's start for Kathy. And to say a few words, I have members of the Knights of Columbus here, Bill Burdick and Joe Cianciolo.
Mr. President, on behalf of the Strongsville Council of the Knights of Columbus, I will be introducing our Grand Knight, Joe Cianciolo. This is our second year of having this award in a partnership with the Strongsville Board of Education and the Knights of Columbus. Our goal, our commitment and everything is to the youth of our kids and everything like that. And the nice thing about this is getting out there and seeing the faces of excellent educators, their commitment to their profession, and also teaching our greatest gift, our kids. On behalf of the Knights, we want to thank Mr. Ryba, Mrs. Pelko. We met last January, and we're talking about our goals and interests, and the administration, the principals of our schools really got involved. I mean, we had a list of about 8 different candidates, and it was really a tough year to make a decision for one. And the big thing of it is we did pick a winner, and she's one excellent teacher, and she's truly an asset for the city of Strongsville. And I'm going to be turning this over to the Grand Knights so they could do a little write-up on that. But thank you very much for your support with the Knights of Columbus.
Okay, I promise you I'll keep it real brief. First, I thank the school board for having us here this evening. Okay, my family's been part of the Strongsville school systems for approximately 18 years. We know many of you folks on the board. The Strongsville community is fortunate to have some of the best teachers and administrators. Throughout the 18 years of teachers who come to mind who have always put the children first, are extremely dedicated, and will always do what they can to assist the students. From my personal experience, teachers such as Mr. Gunther, Ann Waltz, administrators like Susan Harb, Bethany Husong consistently rose to the top. I bring that up for one reason. The reason being is that the competition is intense to win the Teacher of the Year award. When we go through multiple recommendations from the teachers, it's not just one that's given to us, it's quite a few. So to pick one, that's one person who stood out. And this year, Kathy, you stood out, and I would like to represent to you the Sister Rita Mackert of the Year award. So congratulations, you did a great job.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Jenny, almost 2 years ago now, you gave a convocation speech where you talked about marigolds and oak trees. And she talked about how you want to be a marigold. You want to be someone that thrives in the presence of a marigold, just like marigolds help other plants to thrive. I will tell you that I've been planted in a field of marigolds, and that it is my honor and my privilege to work with your children. Thank you very much.
It was really good. Thank you. Thanks for what you guys did. I mean, really cool. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Have a great summer. You deserve it. Appreciate all you do. Joe, thank you always for supporting your sister. Thank you so much. Yes, that's right. We had fun.
Again, I just want to thank the Knights of Columbus and obviously congratulate Kathy. It's a great partnership that we've established and just a nice recognition for the hard work that you do. So thank you. I'd also like to thank Steve Dutrick, the principal of the middle school, for being here to support Kathy tonight. The next award the next recognition that I would like to highlight is our Strongsville Council PTA Outstanding District Educator of the Year Award for 2017 and 18, and this was Mrs. Lori Yates. If Lori could come up. And to introduce her, I'm going to introduce Mrs. Carrie Dewis.
Good evening, members of the board. This year, Council PTA received a wonderful nomination for Outstanding District Educator from Kinsner PTA. The main criteria of this award is to recognize a certified educator who promotes the welfare of children both at home and at school, to unify efforts between educators and parents in order to strengthen a child's physical, mental, and social well-being. Lori Yates, a third-grade teacher at Kinsner Elementary, meets these requirements and more. She was selected for her initiative and drive for her students to succeed. She anticipates her students' needs and adjusts her teaching style and schedule so that her class thrives. Strongsville Council PTA was pleased to recognize Mrs. Yates as our 2018 Outstanding District Educator at our installation lunch last month, and I'm happy to be able to do the same tonight for the school board. We're very fortunate to have such a great network of teachers, staff, and administrators who go the extra mile for our students. Congratulations again.
Thank you.
Good evening, board members, administrators, PTA parents, teachers, and guests. I am truly honored to be considered the PTA's Outstanding Educator of the Year, but I don't do my job alone. The administrators provide a strong curriculum. Mr. Marino encouraged us to implement new teaching strategies. My co-teachers, Kim Kaminsky and Meredith Wise, are always willing to share innovative teaching ideas. The parents in PTA are always supportive. And of course, our children are hardworking and eager to learn. I love coming to school every day. There's nothing more rewarding than seeing the face of a child who has just learned a new skill. I am lucky to be a part of the Strongsville School District, where I work with so many dedicated people who inspire me every day. I am truly honored to be the PTA's Outstanding Educator of the Year. Thank you.
And then one more time, I'm going to introduce Mrs. Carrie Dewis, our PTA Council President, so she can present the volunteer hours for 2017-18.
I want to thank you first for giving us the opportunity to speak this evening. I had the privilege of serving as president of Strongsville Council PTA this year. I'm here tonight on behalf of Council PTA and the 9 units that serve the children, parents, and schools of Strongsville. During this past year, PTAs in Strongsville have been able to provide many enrichment activities for our children. These included book fairs, carnivals, preschool prom, family movie nights, student group enrichment grants, holiday shops, family math and science nights, after prom, plus many more. We have worked with staff members and community leaders through kindergarten screening, Art Rocks, the DARE program, Strongsville Food Bank, the Strongsville Rotary Club Duck Race, and the Strongsville Education Foundation. Additionally, we have provided teacher grants, improved our playground equipment, and organized numerous staff appreciation events. At the council level, we have continued to host our Rocking at the Rec dances, provided nearly $9,000 in grants district-wide, and awarded $4,000 in scholarships to this year's graduating seniors. In February, we celebrated our annual Founders Day program by recognizing 10 individuals that go above and beyond for the betterment of our students and school district. This year, I'm happy to present the board with a certificate that represents 12,460 hours of volunteer service given by our PTAs for the benefit of children, staff, and schools of Strongsville. I want to thank the board and the school administrators for giving us the opportunity to work with you to make positive contributions for our children's education experiences.
Thanks, Carrie. Good to see you. Have a good summer.
Thank you, Carrie, and thank you to PTA Council for not only all of the countless hours you spend, but for taking on something else by highlighting our teachers as the PTA Council Teachers of the Year. So once again, congratulations, Lori, to you. Thank you, Mr. Marino, for being here to support her as well. And finally, I have the pleasure, under my section for Human Resources tonight, I have the recommendation for our new girls varsity basketball coach. So I would like to invite Mr. Carl Walcher up to the podium. Carl has 32 years, right? 32 years? More than that? Probably more than that. Years of experience coaching basketball, from varsity girls basketball to currently an assistant coach coaching boys basketball, and now will be our varsity girls coach. And I have to say, during the interview process, the one thing that really stood out about Carl is he is passionate. He has passion, he has a drive, he has a love of basketball. No matter who he's coaching, he can adapt his style to meet the needs of his team. And that was just came across every time we talked to him through the process. So I'm very excited to have Carl on board, and I think you want to say a few words, right? Sure. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. First, I'd like to thank Mr. Ryba and Ms. Pelko for the interview process and asking some really good, tough questions. The school board for letting me have this opportunity. And I can tell you this, on and off the court, I'm going to definitely make it our mission statement, I would say, to make sure that our girls are doing things on and off the floor to make this community really, really proud of what we're doing. You know, Strongsville proud is, going to be kind of our MO right now. So we're going to get after it. We got a really, really good group of girls. I've been welcomed by the families. It's just been, it's touching. I walked in the gym the first day. I got parents just congratulating me. I don't even know who they are. And I'm getting to know people every day, and it's really exciting. Last night we had a shootout. I've got all these families coming over and welcome me aboard. Dave welcomed me with open arms, and I am so happy to be here. This is awesome. So, go Mustangs. Thanks so much, guys. Welcome. Great. Appreciate it. I love being here. This is awesome. Welcome aboard. Congratulations. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Carl, welcome aboard. We're thrilled to have you. Two things I just want to say. When we were doing the interview process, Jenny and I were the final interview. And as we shared that Carl was going to be our recommendation, the first thing he said is, I can't believe I forgot my cell phone. I just want to call my daughter and tell her the great news, which I thought was awesome. And the second thing was, as he left my office and was walking out the door, he did a fist pump and said, "Awesome." And so that's what you want. When you hire an employee, when you hire a coach, you want that level of excitement and passion. And Carl knows basketball inside and out, and he is really going to take an outstanding program that Jeff Eicher's led for many, many years and continue to enhance and grow it. So welcome to the family, Carl, and we're thrilled to have you here. And then I turn it back over to you, Mr. Naso, for public comment.
All right, public comment. We do have one public comment. Jackie Saggio, come on up. Tell your name, address, you have 3 minutes. Try not to use any names. Be nice to me.
Be nice? No one said I had to be nice.
Oh, that's true, okay.
Hi, my name is
Welcome.
Jack, sorry, go, yes?
Nope, just welcome.
Thanks. Thank you for having me. Thank you for allowing us to do this. My name is Jackie Saggio. I live at 18408 Potomac. This used to be my school. It's in my backyard, but now it's not a school anymore, which makes me kind of sad because I do have 2 children in the school system. I have a 3rd grader and I have a kindergartner, and we had an amazing year. But I am here today to voice some concerns that I would really like to look at and hopefully work collaboratively in the future to make some changes. A little bit about me is I have a background in early childhood. I have a master's degree in early childhood education, and I teach part-time at Cleveland State and Tri-C. I also own a private preschool in the Parma area, and besides an educator and a parent, I'm also a very strong advocate for young children. Young children meaning birth through age 8, kindergarten, 3rd grade. I believe, like most people who I've discussed some of my concerns with, that children have rights. And these rights should be simple: make choices, to play, to have time to eat a meal, to be well rested, to be clean, to be able to wash their hands. Children should not be threatened or withheld recess, especially for socializing. These are some of the things that I have concerns about. My 3rd grader now in 1st grade came home one day telling me she couldn't eat her lunch. And I asked why. She said, "Because my hands were dirty." And I said, "Why didn't you wash your hands?" And she informed me that they don't wash hands before they have lunch. They don't have time. That seems silly to me. I called the school, and they informed me that she could use hand sanitizer, but time just wasn't allowed to make adjustments for hand washing. Many teachers use public behavior charts that degrade and shame children. Public research shows that these do not work, and I know that you're implementing a PBIS system that does not support these practices. The amount of homework that is assigned is out of control. Teachers and aides yell and threaten children and dangle prizes to get them to do things. This is a form of bullying. Recess is taken away when children act out or don't quiet down at lunch in time. Other states are tripling recess, and behavioral concerns and referrals are declining. Why can't we look at these districts and schools for guidance to make our district one that focuses on well-being of children rather than just test scores and homework? How can we collaborate to make Strongsville City Schools one of the best in the state? I want my children to have a love for learning and to see school as a safe place where they can test theories, solve problems, and even fail in safe spaces. I do not feel that providing children with classrooms and schools that focus on test scores, homework assignments, and behavior charts provides a safe and healthy learning environment. I am here to be a voice for all the children who hate school and dread going. That was me. I'm here to be a voice for the child who is always on red because the behavior expectations don't fit their capabilities, or the expectations are not realistic for their age. I am here for the fidgeter in class who cannot keep still, but gets recess taken away, and then fidgets more and gets in trouble, gets recess taken away the next day, or has to stand on the fence in front of everybody. I'm also here for the child like my child who hates that kid who is always on red in her class. He ruins recess and parties for everyone, and that makes her dislike him more. These children are communicating their needs. They do it through behavior. All behavior is communication. I look forward to working with you in some way to make Strongsville a city that focuses on children's well-being, not just academics. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your comments. Cameron, take that all. in, and
Yeah,
you don't need to comment on it now.
no, that's okay. Jackie, I will give you a call, okay, and we can sit down and talk.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you. Okay, that brings us to the treasurer's report.
Thank you, Mr. Naso. Today I have two items, one discussion item. With our previously developed work session calendar, today's meeting was scheduled for a food service update. So just like we did last year, I asked Chartwells to come and present to give us a year-end wrap-up on how the year went this year and what they have in store for next year. So I'll turn it over to the Chartwells group. Chef Mike, our director, Mike Bruno, our regional manager, and Justin Hawkins oversees them both.
Thank you, George. Mr. Ryba, Ms. Pelko, first I want to thank you for your help, your support, and your daily guidance on a day-to-day basis in dealing with us in food service, so thank you very much for that. Mr. President, Mr. Vice President, remaining board members, I wanted to thank you for the opportunity allowing us to be part of the district and having us back for year 2. We certainly appreciate you allowing us to feed your students and your teachers and administrators. Last and not least, and probably most importantly, the guy who probably hates to see my name and number pop up on his phone, George, thank you for your patience, all of your help and your support, and just working with me very closely and the financials and the budgets and everything else related to food service. So thank you very much. I certainly appreciate it. At this point, I'd like to turn it over to Chef Mike, who is the food service director. He has done an outstanding job this school year in working with the entire food service district employees, and he is solely responsible for our results and our successes that we've had this year. And he would like to share with you some of the things that he and his team have accomplished this school year and just give you a sneak peek of some of our initial ideas that we're going to put into effect next school year. So, Chef Mike, please.
Good evening, everybody. Can you hear me okay? A little tall. Thank you for the opportunity. It's been a wonderful year. I would like to talk about some of the innovative culinary ideas that we've had a lot of fun with. I would like to begin with our Island Oasis smoothie machine at the high school. It features 100% fresh fruits and vegetables, 4 different flavors. We had tropical fruit, watermelon, raspberry, peach, mango, and strawberry banana. It was very popular with the students, especially during the warmer months. We did introduce the field trip menu for students that was specifically popular in the elementary level. We captured a lot of meals there. I had a lot of opportunity with catering. Specifically in the morning, I would do omelet bars. Had a chance to do quite a few of those at the high school for Student of the Month breakfasts, and had a few staff appreciation omelet bars as well. I was able to roll out the Aubon pan soup line at the middle school and high school this year, featuring a few different types of soup, such as broccoli cheese. We had chicken noodle soup, corn chowder, wedding soup, and vegetable beef barley. A few things we're going to be looking at next year. We're going to be notifying families if they qualify for free lunch. They would also qualify for free breakfast, and that'll be sent out in the direct certification letter. Information about breakfast will also be included during the opening day newsletter that goes out with the free introduced applications. I did want to mention also that I've had the opportunity to certify probably about 8 of our food service employees through the National Restaurant Association. with the ServSafe certification. That's giving them the opportunity to keep our students and food service department safe. I want to talk about the Mustang Cafe. It's been very successful this year. We've added a nice little countertop warmer that supplies warm pancakes, waffles, muffins, that sort of thing for our students. We've introduced iced coffee, different assorted decaffeinated teas. It's been very popular. We have been working to reduce cost within our department. Communication between our kitchen managers in the buildings. Instead of ordering full cases of supplies at each location, sometimes we're able to split the case to the different buildings. I've also had an opportunity to work with the Department of Defense to have over $45,000 worth of donated commodity produce that's all been grown within the United States, which has certainly helped our food cost. Looking ahead to next school year, I will continue to go out to all of our schools and sample new fun menu items. I did bring some with me today. Everybody in attendance can sample. We have some on-the-go sandwiches and salads. Also have some nice freshly baked cookies for you guys too. It's been kind of flying off the tray there already. What else? Let's see. We're gonna, at the middle school breakfast, I'd like to offer more opportunities to ride the smoothie bike. I brought it out a few times, and it's always a blast. People get a kick out of it. You have to actually work for your smoothie. Mustang Cafe, let's see, I'd like
Put
to,
George on that, he could make us smoothies.
like to get involved with Twitter too, to see, get some student involvement to see what they would like to have added to our menus. I'd like to continue working with the PTA. I've had a lot of fun with their catering, supplying lunches and breakfasts for them. I'd like to work on getting a catering menu together for summer graduation parties, and also a new menu I will have together by the beginning of next school year for staff. Specifically, I can see a lot of increase in sales at the middle school and high school. So with that, I want to thank you for allowing us to serve your students this year, and we look forward to improving our program next year to provide positive results for all stakeholders.
Thank you.
Before you leave the podium,
Sure.
just as a story from, I've got two small kids. One's going into 7th grade. He started here in this building. It's an every 2-week thing where they both come together to me and ask me for more money for their account.
That's good to hear.
Both my children will tell you, especially my oldest, who's going into 7th grade, he'll tell you that the quality of the food has increased. He was a kid who had never, ever eaten in the cafeteria. I mean, it's packed lunch every single day. And now he tries to find ways to get out of a packed lunch from his mom, like try to get out early, oh, Mom, I forgot it, and we know what's going on. So it's just the quality of the food and what's happening in the buildings is starting to increase, starting to get better. We had a little bit of a misstep, but what you've done with our buildings and this school district is to be commended. And hopefully we continue forward steps moving forward, because the reaction from the children is, they like the food. And if your customers are happy with the food, then you're gonna get more sales and more sales. So congratulations and good job.
Thank you very
We see
much.
the participation numbers going up. We see the total lunch served, even though population's down, is up, so it's working.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You make me hungry every time you talk. And I go back to when I first got on the board 5 years ago, walking through different schools and seeing the kids under the programs that were being forced by the federal government at the time, taking a tray of food and throwing most of it into garbage. And that was just not right. Now, every time I walk through any of the schools, the presentation is just appetizing. I mean, it's really nice food, and the high school is more like a college campus. And I think that creates an attitude in our young people that we want, that they're young adults, you know, that they're not babies, we're not feeding them pablum, that they actually have a choice of what they can eat, salad bars, the different ethnic foods you provide. I've had the opportunity, like I told you, to eat your lasagna a couple different times. Man, that's good. So thank you, Chef Mike. Really appreciate the work.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
Thank
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. The next item I have is for your consideration, the full-day kindergarten tuition. So for next year, we'll have 8 sections of full day with about 188 students. Be it resolved upon the recommendation of the treasurer that the district sets tuition for the 2018-19 full-day kindergarten at $2,200 per student. It is further recommended that the treasurer be charged with collecting tuition and preparing tuition contracts for parents to pay tuition in a lump sum or 2 annual installment payments. The treasurer may also grant parents a $50 reduction in tuition if paid in full prior to the beginning of the school year. Students qualified for free lunch will receive a $200 reduction in tuition, and students qualifying for reduced lunch will receive a $100 reduction in tuition. There's no
Can I have a
question.
motion?
There's no vote yet.
No motion.
We don't need a motion on that.
It's on the
Oh,
consent, it's on the
sorry.
consent calendar. There's no further questions. That concludes my report.
Nope, we're good. Superintendent's report?
Thank you, Mr. Naso. I'd like to introduce Jeff and Ron from Swensons. If you want to come on up to the podium, and just as they're getting settled, a few months ago, we learned that Swensons was possibly looking, they reached out to us, sharing that they were possibly looking at coming to Strongsville. And as the board knows and some of our community may know, we own a few vacant properties, one of those vacant properties being on Pearl Road by Jardines. So they reached out to us, we met and had a brief discussion about their interest in that property and leasing the property. And after hearing the discussion and speaking with Mr. Naso, we thought it would be a good opportunity as a first step to hear Swenson's thoughts on the property and their future in Strongsville. So I'm going to turn it over to Jeff and Ron to share the presentation they have for the board tonight.
Before Jeff and Ron start, I just want to, my thoughts on this when Cameron approached me, we're always looking for new, we're trying to increase our revenue. That's one of the reasons why we improved the food service program. That's why we working so hard to collect our fees. That's why we're doing so many different things to make, to work on a revenue source. What Swenson's going to produce or present tonight hasn't been vetted by any of us. We've not seen it. We don't know what it is, but we're always open to new ideas. And maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. I don't know. So I don't want anyone to get the impression that they're presenting and we're going to vote and it's going to get passed. We're thinking it, not that it won't. I'm just saying, this is a vetting of a new idea that we just want to take a look at. And I don't want anyone to think that, the horse is, the cart's in front of the horse. We're just taking this in steps. We're going to see how it goes. And with that, please.
Thank you so much. Members of the board, Mr. President, Vice President, Superintendent, we appreciate the opportunity to be here with you this evening. My name is Ronald D. I'm the Vice President of Real Estate with Swensons. With me is Mr. Jeff Flowers, the CEO of Swensons Drive-In Restaurants. We are based in Akron, Ohio. Our company is 84 years old. We are a private company. We have been working recently with a local real estate consultant, Mr. Chris Seelig, who's here with us this evening, with Colliers International. And Chris has been helping us look for properties and communities around the Cleveland area. One of the things you'll hear from Mr. Flowers in a minute is we are a company that seeks to really become part of the communities that we build our restaurants in, and we seek to interact with the communities, become part of the communities, and really become a neighborhood business. In looking around Strongsville, we found that this is the kind of community that we love to do business in. If you look at our existing 8 restaurants, you'll find out that they're all really embedded and located within communities where we interact with the neighborhoods, with the high schools, with the colleges, which you'll hear a lot more detail about in a minute. But we love the Strongsville community. We love the Strongsville neighborhoods. And as you know, Strongsville has been commercially developed quite a bit in the last 20 years. And fortunately, you, as a school board and a school district, have some wonderful real estate here in town that is appealing to us. And we would love to try to develop some type of partnership, either through a long-term lease or a purchase of property. And with that, I'd like to turn it over to Mr. Flowers, who will give you a little bit more about the history of Swensons and our business.
Thank you. Members of the board, thank you for having us tonight. As Ron said, my name is Jeff Flowers. I'm the CEO of Swensons Drive-In Restaurants. I've actually been with the company for 17 years. I began my career there as a curb server. So for those of you that are familiar with the concept, I was one of the guys running trays out to the cars. Since then, I've been through every level of management. I've been a shift manager, I've been a general manager, I've been a district manager, I've been the IT department, I've been the graphic department, I've been the marketing guy. I have done a little bit of it all. So if you have questions at the end, there's not much about Swensons I can't answer for you. Like Ron mentioned, we've been around in Akron, Ohio since 1934. Since then, we've expanded to 8 units in the Akron, Canton, and Cleveland area. We also have 2 food trucks, the second of which we just got on the road a couple of months ago. One of our proudest accomplishments, as you can see there, is that we were named Best Burger in America by Forbes. Brief timeline here, as you can see, where it all started in 1934. Wesley Pop Swensons built the first hamburger hut when Hawkins Road was still dirt, and it was ridden up to by literally horses. Since then, things have changed quite a bit. You can see our newest prototype building that we just recently opened in University Heights at the end of 2017. That would be the same style of building that we hope to bring to Strongsville. Some of the great things about Swensons is we really pride ourselves in quality and freshness. Our second unit that we opened in North Akron in the early 1950s, right next door to there is our commissary. So at 3 a.m. every morning, we have a staff that comes in there and they grind and patty all of our hamburgers fresh every morning. Fresh and quality are things that we take very, very seriously. The Galley Boy, that is our king. That's what we're known for. There are 2 secret homemade sauces that we put on all of the burgers. As I mentioned myself, I began my career at Swensons as a curb server. That's another one of the parts of the service model at Swensons that we're very proud of. All of our curb servers are full-time college students. We actually check their grades and require them to maintain a certain GPA to continue employment with us. We make 3 schedules a year, spring, summer, and fall. All of our servers turn their school schedules in, and then we make their work schedule around that. That way there's never any conflict between work and school. The job at Swensons is really meant to complement college servers. Like Ron mentioned, we really try to be a part of the community. One of the things you'll notice about Swensons, if you're familiar with the concept, you're never going to hear us on the radio. You're never going to see Swensons, on a TV ad. The best advertising we do is by focusing on quality food and great service. We like to be, the sponsor of the Little League baseball team in the community. We like to be the places that people go before and after Friday night football games. That's the brand awareness that really drives Swensons. Again, we are a brand that we really try to appeal to everyone, young, old. Whether it be the Friday night football game with mom and dad coming before the game or pickup trucks full of kids in the back hanging out after the football game, we try to appeal to all. We have been around since 1934. These are some of the proudest statistics that I have to show that without spending tons of money on advertising, on TV, on radio, that just focusing solely on quality food and quality service, that we continue to thrive no matter the environment. Swensons is loved beyond Akron. We can sit and talk about awards we've ran or we've won for a long time. We've won again everything from Forbes to the Akron Beacon's Best. I believe we're at 15 years in a row now. Again, I think that speaks to who we are and what we do. That a lot of the awards we win are by local public votes. Again, this isn't us, with paid sponsorships. It's our customers that are coming to our restaurants day after day. They're enjoying the same quality food and service, and because they love Swensons, they vote for us. Some more awards from us. Some quotes from our fans that we like to call Swinatics. And one of our more famous fans that hopefully we can all cross our fingers and send him a little bit more luck over the next couple of days. Again, our curb servers, their motto is sprint and smile. So that is one of the things you'll notice on our parking lots, that there's no walking, there's no jogging, there's no trotting. Sprint and smile literally ends every paragraph in our curb servers employee manual. So we take that attitude very seriously, whether it's our curb servers on the parking lot, our kitchen employees in the kitchen, folks like Ron and myself in the corporate office. If you're involved at Swensons, you find a way to sprint and smile. I'm going backwards, pardon me. I believe that's all for this part of the presentation. And we're doing questions at the end, correct? Okay, thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, thank you.
Jeff, just for full disclosure, I grew up in Stowe, so I was your fry guy for 2 full years, from 14, 15, 16. And you always hear those stories that when you work in someone's kitchen, you never want to eat the food. I ate there on Wednesday. I went to Montrose and I had to have a burger and whatnot. So it's a wonderful organization. It's where I grew up. I mean, part of my growing up, my maturity was at Swensons and getting to work and getting those things done. So it's always been a great Akron business, and good for you guys for expanding.
And hopefully Strongsville to come. I appreciate it very much.
Thank you. Jeff, hold on a second. I just want to make sure, by the end, we mean by the end of the presentation here, not at the end of the meeting. So I didn't know if any board members had any additional questions at this time for Jeff or Ron.
No, I mean, I guess we'd have to see, some of the things.
proposal.
We'd need to see the proposal, what kind of, we're certainly, I don't think no one's interested in selling, so it'd be least, I don't know that, I guess we'd look at anything, but, whatever the proposal is. But, I'm most interested myself, I think, in possibly a long-term lease, if it would work. Have to see a rendering of what it would look like, is it intrusive, is it gonna,
Just happen to have one.
just happen to have one. So that's the building, but do you have anything with it in place? Like something that, so we could see like the site plan kind of look?
How much land do you need, like an acre, or what is it? Okay.
We generally look for 1 acre and about 80 parking spaces. And remember, we have no seats inside the restaurant. We have no patio seats. Everybody dines in their automobiles. Jeff, can you share your favorite quote about our dining seats? Which I love.
Ron loves this one. We take pride in the fact that we serve $2 hamburgers with white tablecloth level service in the most expensive chair that you own.
Yes. So
Yeah, thanks.
parking spots here are the existing on Rademacher.
Okay, so it's Rademacher.
Yeah, I don't think,
No, those would be
across
new.
the street, that wouldn't be yours.
No, that's correct.
No, these are the ones that are on Rademacher already.
Yeah.
Those are existing.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Have you guys talked to council at all? Where did Jimmy go? Councilman Carbo, have these guys talked to you at all?
Have you talked to,
No,
economic development or?
No, I've spoken to Brent Painter. He's aware of the conversations that we're having and basically shared that if the board is interested in having serious conversations about that he'd be more than happy to work with the board and help facilitate at least what the requirements are at any time. Everybody's aware. But again, until there's a serious any consideration by the board, would wait until we had that conversation at that point.
Okay.
I mean, I'd have to see the financial proposal, like what is the, what is the,
Sure, typically the process is we would send you a letter of intent, and the letter of intent would be
I'm sorry.
Microphone.
Oh, I'm sorry.
The process we'd work with, as if with any other landowner, we would send you a letter of intent. The letter of intent would outline basic business terms of a proposed lease with you. As an example, typically we would offer a 20-year-long lease, a base term lease, with 6 5-year options after that. We would propose to rent the ground or lease the ground, and we would propose to pay a particular fee per year. And typically that fee would increase every 5 years, a certain percentage, which would be to be negotiated. We typically maintain our own properties. That's often called common area maintenance. So we would do our own parking lot maintenance, landscaping, snow plowing, site lighting. All of that would be on us. And then we would pay our own real estate taxes as well directly to the taxing municipality. So we would outline that in a letter to you. It's a relatively short letter, about 2 or 3 pages long. It would spell out all of the economics. You could review it and then get back to us with your comments regarding the letter of intent. Once we agreed on the letter of intent, both parties would negotiate a lease, and the lease document is typically prepared by an attorney, a real estate attorney, and then we would negotiate the lease, enter into the lease. And the lease, in addition to economics, would spell out certain timeframes that we would have to abide by in order to get the business constructed and open and operating.
Okay, well, we'll get back to you on our thoughts. We'll talk with Cameron, we'll talk amongst ourselves.
I think you mentioned it in your presentation that Strongsville's seen an awful lot of buildup over the last 20 years. And I know Councilman Carbone's concerned about this, as well as other councilmen, and I am too, with the aesthetics. It's a nice open field now. We took a building down out of there that was an eyesore. And if I'm thinking it's the right place, which I think it is, right next to Rademacher Miller Road, right by the high school coming out there. So I can see why you guys would want to put it right there with our burger-hungry kids.
Sure.
But I'm concerned about the aesthetics from Pearl Road, having another building there. Plus, we've got 50 billion restaurants in Strongsville already. So that's your side of the business. But I'm concerned with the aesthetics of it, as well as the financial part, like Carl mentioned. So please consider those things.
Sure. The one thing I would mention is we recently, about a year ago, hired a well-known architectural firm from Charlotte, North Carolina, to help us design a new building. Prior to myself joining the company, prior to opening University Heights, we hadn't opened a new restaurant in 17 years. So we really did need to update the look and the feel and the architecture of the building. And our newest building, which opened in December 2017, is on Cedar Road in University Heights. If you have an opportunity to go over there, please experience it, look at the building, see the aesthetics of the building, and we can certainly email you photographs of the building as well, so you can take a look at that.
I think I'd feel much better even right now if it was green and white.
Okay. Well, understood. We understand your feelings.
Maybe the Mustang burger instead of the galley? No.
Yeah, that's not
Mustang
gonna work.
boy, no. Horse? No, that's not
Maybe
good.
we can do something with a milkshake.
Okay.
There you go, that's a great idea.
Richard?
So I was just going to thank you for bringing bringing yourselves and the offer to our attention. I'm not speaking out of turn. We're very interested. Obviously, anything that fits our values, and from what you've said, I think your company does fit our values, and it would be a good addition. Anything that brings revenue to our district, we'll be having a large discussion about revenue to our district. Of course, we're open to hear from it. But, the things you've talked about, I think, are important. It's good that you're a local company. It's good that you have your own values and that you espouse them. And obviously, the things you do with your college students resonates well to a Board of Education, very well. I'll give whoever designed the picture kudos, because the fencing and the red brick, I think, are right out of Mr. Carbone's manual. Or at least are a good first, or at least a good first effort. So kudos to that. And whatever documentation, let's have a discussion. And if the secret sauce recipe is slid in there, we'll keep it a secret.
No, what you got to ask for is how do they make the burger sweet? That they'll never let you know.
We've heard everything
I
from
know.
coffee grinds to grape jelly, molasses, and everything in between.
Honey, brown sugar, remember, I worked there for 2 years. I've heard it all too. So.
But at least this board member is very interested, and thank you for taking the time and preparing well, and I look forward to hearing more.
Very good. We appreciate your time. Thank you so
Yeah, I
much.
appreciate it too. I just, we have to consider how it fits in with our overall plan for the district and this property, so.
Very good.
I mean, as a board, we're in charge of the assets of the district, and we have to decide how to best utilize those assets. And in some cases, some of those assets can generate income, so that's a good thing. So, I think we're interested in your letter of intent, your proposal. We'd like to see that, because we can't really evaluate it without it. We like the company. The idea is kind of unique. We have to see how it fits in. But other than that, I think we'd be interested in hearing your proposal, seeing your proposal in writing, and then we can start from there.
Very good.
Do you have other locations in Strongsville you're considering? You mentioned you have your realtor with you. I mean,
We've looked at other locations. Right now, we do not have any other letters of intent out. We're not negotiating. We're not meeting with anybody else. So this is kind of our only opportunity that we're pursuing in Strongsville right now.
Thank you.
Excellent. Well, thank you. Appreciate the time and the idea.
Thank you, Jeff.
We appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you for the time.
Menchie's puts coffee grounds in their burgers.
That's what we called Swanson.
Next on the agenda, Mr. Naso, as George and I presented a recommendation at the last May board meeting in terms of new operating dollars. We went in depth with that presentation in terms of the justification, the reasoning, the fact that since our 2007 levy, our overall budget and funding from the state of Ohio and the Cleveland Clinic reduction in taxes is going to reduce our funding by almost $9 million, or 6.3 mils, that we recommended to the board that we request an additional 7.9 mil continuing operating levy to be on the November 2018 ballot. So a resolution declaring it necessary to levy an additional tax for the purpose of current expenses and requesting the Cuyahoga County Fiscal Officer to certify total current tax valuation of the school district and the dollar amount of revenue that would be generated by an additional 7.9 mil continuing operating levy pursuant to sections 5705.03 and 5705.21 of the revised code, and that can be found in Exhibit A.
All right. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, George. Discussion?
It's a shame.
Yeah.
It's an absolute shame that we're in this position. If it wasn't for Kasich and people down in Columbus, we wouldn't have to do this. They would have left us alone. We'd have been fined for another 2, 3, 4 more years.
At least.
And then Cleveland Clinic comes around, and they take $400,000 per year away from us, but they go back 5 years. So that's $2 million that we will not receive this coming fall. So,
$400,000 every year forward.
yeah, unfortunately, this is not our doing. We pinch every single penny. We do the best for the children of this school district, and Columbus and the Cleveland Clinic have forced our hands. It's unfortunate.
Mr. Naso, I think some folks may wonder if we say we've lost 6.3 mils, why we're asking for 7.9. And the difference is, of course, that everything costs more every year than it used to cost, including utilities, salaries, all those things. And I think our books have been open. Our treasurer has won numerous awards for the transparency that he's put out there with our budgets. And I know, I mean, for myself, it would be a significant increase in my yearly taxes for my property. But in order to make our children competitive, in order to make our children career and college ready, this is necessary to sustain the good progress we've made in Strongsville, to make sure that we have the courses and the educational opportunities available for all of our kids to, like I said, make them career and college ready by the time they leave high school. So, like George says, it's very unfortunate that we're caught in the middle with this, but it's very necessary as well. So we really need the help of all the parents out there that have kids in the schools and all the citizens who value good schools that are tied directly to house values, by the way. So if you vote against this levy, you're voting against the value of your own home. And that's not a good thing for anybody in Strongsville.
Richard?
As I said before, whenever I think we consider a tax increase, we should have three values that we look at. Is it needed? Is it reasonable? And can we look the taxpayer in the eye and promise them that we're not going to waste their money? It is needed. Fortunate or unfortunate is the matter. I tried to do some research, to do some comparisons. Solon is in the exact same boat we are. Solon has very heavy personal property tax, very heavy industry, very similar to Strongsville. On the May ballot, they had a
8.5.
8.5 mill levy. It did pass. That levy would generate or cost the taxpayer $241.50 for every $100,000 in home value. So our levy is very similar to that. In addition, for that reasonable factor, even after assuming we earn the trust of the taxpayer, even after, if that levy is passed, our overall tax rate will still be less than a sizable number of communities in Cuyahoga County. If you take a look at the little piece of blue paper the treasurer sends you with your tax bill, we are still very reasonable. We're not going to be the highest even if this levy passes. So I do think, while it is a large tax increase, and I do think the taxpayer is going to have to give it judicious consideration, I do think it's reasonable, so it passes that test for me. And then the last one, I can look every taxpayer in the eye and promise and let them know we will not waste their money. This board has a value of making sure we make every dollar last. We treat it as if it's our own. We probably treat it even more strongly than if it is our own. We do not waste money, and we're always looking for ways to get the most bang for the buck.
Well said, Richard.
Well said. Jane?
Yeah, I've been considering this long and hard because like everyone else, I'm going to have to bear a large, increase when this passes. And I'm convinced that we're not just asking for this money to go on a spending spree. It's to be able to maintain the programs that we have, and we're making such great strides with all of our areas, whether it's academic, in the arts, athletics, and we want our district to maintain that level. It's so hard once you start making cuts to then come back, and we don't want to be in that cycle of having to come back and from stripping down our district. So it's with a heavy heart that we have to do this. But I think it is for the best of the district, and it's been a long time since we've gotten new money. We've, as a school board and a district, been able to really conserve all of our funds and take advantage of every community opportunity that we can, and the generosity of the businesses and other organizations. So, and we're going to continue to do that. This wouldn't be a way to say, oh, we can just sit back now. So we're going to continue to tighten our belts, but it's necessary.
Thank you, Jane. For me, this levy, the 7.9 levy is something we tried so hard to avoid to do. We've known ever since Kasich made his cuts that essentially we couldn't save our way out of this. I was on the board in 2011, and on that one night when we cut $8 million out of the budget, some of the things we did was the Mandarin Chinese program. We had one of the best ones. Our middle school language program. Our German program was the best in the country, and we had to cut that out. We cut grounds crew, we cut custodians, we cut clerks, we cut middle school supplements, we cut out student council, we cut out guidance, we cut out technology positions, middle school sports, gifted and talented programs, media specialists. I remember doing that. I remember sitting up here doing that, $8 million with tears in our eyes, and going home, I have to look at my daughter And so this levy, you know, it's $23 per month per 100,000 is that correct, George?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
correct.
So that's money. I mean, nobody's saying that this is going to be an easy pill to swallow, right? Nobody's saying that. Just know that 19 of it puts back what was taken away, right? There's inflation, there's, you know, on top of that 19, we've added security measures to keep kids safe. We've done things like that. But, you know, over 19 of it is just to replace what was taken. And we know
Stolen.
It was stolen.
Stolen,
It was
not
stolen.
taken, it was
Yep.
stolen.
Yeah, and you know,
By
so-
Columbus,
Yeah.
stolen. Politicians making decisions on our behalf.
And we all attended commencement. It's one of the favorite things we do each year. On Sunday, we got to go to commencement. And we had, our kids, they're such great kids. We had a child going to MIT, Yale, Princeton. And that was just the colleges we announced in the top 5%, right? You know, we had kids graduating from our RTC program, going into the military. We had kids, you know, who wouldn't have got through without the Connections program. They literally wouldn't have graduated, right? But we have the Connections program. We have children, you know, with special needs, our most needy children who need the most help in our special needs programs. Those are all the things that this program pays for, right? And those are all tools. It buys tools. And the more tools we have, the better we can get the most out of every child. It's not that we just want to spend this money. We have to keep those tools in our tool set. Otherwise, there's going to be kids who are going to slip through the cracks. And that's just unfortunate. It's not why we're here. So we're going to do our best. We're going to continue to tighten our belts. But, I mean, we really feel like our hands are tied on this. You got two options. You either do this, which we all don't want to do, but we know we have to do it, and it's the right thing to do, so we're going to do it, or you gut it. And we're just not going to gut it. We've come too far. So with that, I'll stop talking.
Well, Carl, I'll tell you how I sum it up. You can't have a first-rate city with second-rate schools.
Yep.
So,
Can't do it. So we'll do our best. With that, we need, any other discussion? Let's take a vote. This is to support the resolution of the 7.9 continuing levy.
Colonel Evans?
yes.
Mr. Grozan?
Yes.
Mrs. Ludwig?
Yes.
Mr. Miko?
Yes.
Mr. Naso?
Yes,
Motion passes.
thank you.
And Mr. Naso, this is one of two resolutions.
Right, we'll have to do it again.
Once we get the certification back from the county.
Okay.
Next, we have the resolution to terminate any and all employment contracts of Robert Schwerman effective immediately pursuant to ORC 3319.081, and that's found in Exhibit B.
Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Nope. Let's get rid of the thief. George, take roll.
Mr. Grozan?
Yes.
Colonel Evans?
Yes.
Mrs. Ludwig?
Yes.
Mr. Miko?
Yes.
Mr. Naso?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Moving on to student services, we do have one item, a settlement resolution, which can be found in Exhibit C.
Have a motion?
So moved.
I believe we've all read it and seen it. George, any discussion?
Do we have a second?
Give me a second.
Second.
Oh, we have a second. Thank you, Jane. Any discussion? Let's vote.
Colonel Evans?
Yes.
Mrs. Ludwig?
Yes.
Mr. Miko?
Yes.
Mr. Naso?
Yes.
Mr. Grozan?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Under curriculum, we have two items. The first one is Advanced Placement Seminar Textbook. This is for a new course that we're offering next year at the high school. Be it resolved upon the recommendation that a textbook be adopted for the Advanced Placement Seminar as presented in the exhibit. This book has been recommended by the professional staff and reviewed by the Citizens Curriculum Advisory Committee and is found in Exhibit D. Also, we have an overnight trip for Strongsville High School Air Force Junior ROTC program. That permission be granted to members of that program to travel to Vienna, Ohio to participate in a leadership development course June 20th through 24th. Expenses associated with the trip will be paid by participating students. Any questions on those items? And then finally, we have the Human Resource Report. Jenny?
I have the following items for your consideration this evening under Human Resources. Under D1, I have retirements for certificated staff. These retirements are effective for June 30th of 2019. So these are teachers that indicated that they would like to retire at the end of 19.
We're losing some good ones.
Yes, yes. Under D2, we have the appointment of a certificated staff member. and the appointment of a non-certificated supplemental contract. And that concludes my report.
And that concludes the superintendent's report, Mr. Naso.
Thank you, thank you. With that, that brings us to the consent calendar. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
I'll
Got it.
second.
There were no modifications of the consent calendar. Any discussion on any consent calendar items? George, could you take roll?
Mr. Grozan?
Yes.
Colonel Evans?
Yes.
Mrs. Ludwig?
Yes.
Mr. Miko?
Yes.
Mr. Naso?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Excellent. That brings us to board policies, first reading. Very interesting. Brings us to Board of Education, other.
Real quick about the policies.
Yes.
Will we get something showing us what changes are on those policies, or?
Last week.
You had that at the last meeting. If you need another copy, we'll
Please.
get that for you.
Thank you.
Didn't read it.
It's somewhere in my.
He gets two more chances
Chances.
to read it.
I would like a picture of you on the boat reading it again. That was nice last time.
Yeah, well, I'll do that.
I had one other, Mr. Naso. I just wanted to comment on graduation. It was really, like Carl said, it's our pleasure. That's the most awesome thing we do all year. It's kind of the reward for being a board member, because Lord knows the rest of it sometimes isn't as rewarding. But we were really thrilled to see how many kids are, like Carl said, going to Ivy League schools or some of the top technical colleges and universities in the country. And I was particularly proud of our ROTC color guard, which happened to be 3 young ladies and 2 young men, and they looked really sharp, and their training is showing. And it was nice that now we can do this all in-house instead of having to import a color guard from another organization. So I just wanted to commend them for that, and also to all the graduates who did an outstanding job on Sunday. Even Richard's speech was pretty good.
It was great.
It was good.
It was great.
Well, for as far as graduation is concerned, I think our students will find when they do start on their new journey next fall or this fall, they will be very well prepared. I always take every opportunity when I run into a graduate to say, hey, how prepared were you for college? And without fail, they all say, I'm way ahead of most of my classmates. I know the material. I'm well prepared. So kudos to all of our teachers.
Excellent.
As a personal little story, my soon-to-be 7th grader heard that one of our graduates is going to MIT. And all he would talk about on the way home is, Dad, how do I do that? Dad, how do I do that? And literally, I'm going to ask, by the way, if we can try to make a connection there. Because it was, for my 2 children, it was, as the children stood up and you heard, which one's going for a athletic scholarship, which ones are getting money from colleges. And it was awe-inspiring for those my 2 small kids to be able to see that and see how many children are excelling, not just getting by, but excelling. It really, truly, and Richard said this before I even got on the board, that is the day. That is the payback. That is what this job is supposed to be about. So you're absolutely right.
I even made my bed.
You're the only one.
Military corners.
No, wait a minute. I made this one.
Excellent. I don't have any others except everybody have a safe summer. Grades are posted in Power School if you're looking. They're out there.
If you paid your dues.
If you paid your dues, yeah. If you didn't, well, pay them. I'll show you. And with that, we'll move on. We do have, I need a motion for executive session.
To consider the employment of a public employee or official and to review negotiations, bargaining sessions with public employees concerning their compensation or other terms and conditions of their employment.
So moved. Second.
Thank you.
Yes, you did.
Vote?
Colonel Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Grozan?
Yes.
Mrs. Ludwig?
Yes.
Mr. Miko?
Yes.
Mr. Naso?
Yes.
Enter an executive session at 8:20 or
Team, you do anything else, or just leave it alone?
8:20?
Yep.